here. This follows along some of the tools that are in my book called Grounding Vision, Empowering Culture, which is also translated into French. It's available in the library, the bookshop here. And it's I've done these steps many times over as I've mentored eco-villages into existence, and it's also what I'm working with towards the 300 people eco-village in New Zealand right now. We're at the very second step. Okay, the very first step is establish a core group and have informal fun events, and people very often will think, let's get the group together and brainstorm and figure out our vision and things like that. But the step of just getting to know each other casually is really important. Barbecues, a little bit working bees and so on. The next thing, and it's really high up the list, is if you're working with land in any way, to have a common methodology. And there's nothing better that I could say as a permaculture educator than familiarise yourself with permaculture design, the methodology, models, principles, and it can be done just by watching videos together, getting in a guest speaker or reading books, and then perhaps doing a formal course, and also the Ecovillage course that's happening around the world. Undergraduate education is excellent to start off with, so you're on the same page together. So the third one is Holistic Goal-Setting Mandala. This is a mandala that's in our book. It comes out of the work of holistic resource management, but working in South Africa, we've kind of Africanized the system, so to speak, to make it much more, slow down. There's 10 minutes, it's spacious. Thank you. To make it much more interactive. And this takes us from core values right out through to mission statements and tangible things on the ground. And very early on, doing the physical mandala, it's the safest one. It doesn't get us into the sort of nitty-gritty of the stirrings of the emotional body so much more. It's like very tangible, and we know if we're on the same page. We're still on a group, a core group of between about 7 and 9 people. It's very small. Aye. Okay, so choose your bioregion and become intimate with it. Early on, pick where you're going to establish yourself. And the current eco-village I'm working on in New Zealand with people, we have 20 factors we're evaluating bioregions. And one of the highest in there is the council partnership. Are there bylaws? Are there a framework in the local council to really support eco-villages being established on rural land? That's one of them. Other things are to do with proximity to a city or height above sea level, all sorts of things, which means that you research that bioregion biophysically and you consciously choose it. That was our Golden Bay bioregion in the last slide. This is a region I've worked with in South Africa under Kaleho Development Project. Consciously chosen because it's a tough region to crack as far as the new South Africa goes. You know, it's very strong traditional farmlands with the apartheid system very entrenched, and to present and set up models of sustainability in the heart of that. It's why that land was chosen. The next one is develop social skills together for living on the land, and this is doing your own inner work, but also having workshops where you together learn about meeting facilitation, about governance and decision making. You develop these skills so that you have a common framework and language. Skills about how to manage your time and how to choose to free up time for Ecovillage. And this is a community stock-taking activity also in the book, which enables you to assess all the resources that you have at your fingertips, which are missing, which are strong, and which are really in crisis, you could say. On the Holistic Goal-Setting Mandala, for the second stage of it, is the social culture, is the social structure and the community culture. And this is where it gets tougher. It's where you dig into things like, for example, drugs and alcohol, quietude and noise, pets, money, the things that kind of like are these base chakra or these kind of like emotional attachments we have. We get down to that in that mandala. And we start with core values, and we don't move on until we are aligned at core values. And in there is also conflict resolution strategies and so on. Then out of that comes the activities that go on the land or the social structures, and beyond that, the vision statement. And then we're ready to do the Powerbase activity. And the community Powerbase takes us to a place where we really look at how much do I need to have of my own ownership, power and resources. Just me governing myself at one end. And how much at the other end do I want to share and be in a collective agreement around? And there are all of the things about daily life that go into there. And this tool takes us through to evaluating that on a 1 to 10 scale. And when everybody does that, then you end up, and you put it in the centre, and you look at the collective, you end up with where are you on that scale of, sort of individual household subdivision to full-on kibbutzim with shared monies and housing stock that's owned by a trust or something like that. And when we've done that, we come to a legal structure that arises out of that, and only then you take that to a lawyer for formalising it, when you know you're actually on that same page. Then you name your ecovillage, you name your group, not until here, it's the birth. And when you name, you symbolise it. It's like, the baby coming out of the womb into the world and has its own character and it has its own destiny. And that's when you come into more a formal thing. You do strategic planning steps together, financing, legal steps, purchase of land, timing, things like that. And at that stage, you send out the invitation to form another circle or a next tier. And that next tier, it's kind of, you would put it out on the internet to friends, all through the networks, but really clear base from which you're coming, and you're sounding a pure and consistent note. People know, oh yeah, that's for me, or nope, that's not for me. So that's when you add your next level. Then people will move to the same bioregion. In our case, people were scattered around the country. We moved to the Nelson province and we started doing our next workshop series together. So when the next tier is in, and this I think is the most important step of the lot, and I don't hardly know of it ever being done, we take on an altruistic project that doesn't benefit our group at all, but benefits the wider community. It can be, say, for example, putting together an organic garden in an old people's home or a hospital. It can be revegetating degraded landscape in a public place, something like that. In this project, you build in all of the things possible that you need in your eco-village. Managing money, taking care of kids, taking coordination roles, and you move that around. It's a test case to experiment how you are together. And you can certainly see the strengths, and you can certainly see what happens amongst people, and before you get committed. And the 12th step, and the last step in this phase of several, is designed for multiple generations. So the elderly who are discarded in our society into old people's homes and sort of not honoured for their wisdom, have a very significant place in our eco-village movement. I'm really sorry about the slides. I had fantastic slides. Maybe it's a Mac to PC or something. Families. So families, education, and young adults. So young adults, again, is the most significant thing because needing to build in those ways that young adults who have very little resources but passion, skills, commitment, how they can be together on land to support the whole development. And in our new eco-village model, we have that sussed, I think, with multiple economic models and ways people can come in together. After this 12 steps, we have a couple more phases. One is 10 sure steps for land search, tenure and occupation. So that's another whole 12 steps when we're actually getting very grounded and we are getting more formative to be on the land. And then 12 guiding principles for eco-village design And that's when we go into our permaculture strategy more, but specifically with an eco-village focus. And that's another whole 12 principles. This is one of the workshops, and another is in France that I'm running, and it's on some of these community tools, but it's at that same community, Lammas in Wales, and I've got some flyers for it here, that is coming up. And that Buried, this is our website, and Buried is another website. If anybody wants my PowerPoint, you're most welcome. It's got all of the material there. And this manual is in the bookstore. Yeah. So that comes out of my 30 years experience, I think, in community and eco-village design and development. Essential tools.
Thank you very much.